Tana girl, why do you keep doing yourself so wrong? But not only yourself, everyone else. Stop it. Take a break. Leave. Please. So everyone, in the wake of Kaylin and Simply Nessa making their videos against Tana Mongeau, basically saying about how her and her manager Jordan were very microaggressive towards her and very bad people, to say the least. Bad people towards them. And treating them differently because of their skin tone. Or at least in their opinion. So Tana has a god-awful MTV show. It is so bad. It's so bad. Like, I'm not even saying this to be dramatic, but it's just so bad. Like, you can probably find so many videos of people talking so badly about the show online. It is just so awful. Like, cringy, scripted. Jordan, her manager, comes across as the best character in it, and I'm sure he set it up so that he was the hero in it, and Tana, his client, looks like such a mess in it, and it's just awful. So again, in the wake of everyone calling for Tana and Jordan to be held accountable, something interesting has happened. A girl called Ashley Siren put on her Instagram and said, "Very proud of MTV for taking a stand and firing Tana. Very happy that the company I work with is taking a step in the right direction." Whoa. So this statement from a worker at MTV apparently literally says the words, "Very proud of MTV for taking a stand and firing Tana." Like fired. Gone. And now Tana has stopped talking about the shitty MTV show for a long time now, and so it makes sense that they dropped her. Now again, we're just going by this Ashley Siren's girl's word because MTV have not released a statement, but if they actually dropped her, props. And if you think about it, if she's actually been fired, a lot of the times these YouTubers are exposed for being problematic. Companies that they work with kind of stay out of it, and then in a couple months are just kind of like, oh, and we're back again. But with Tana being fired over this, it's kind of like, maybe have the staff of MTV felt a certain way towards Tana and Jordan, and that has kind of made the decision quicker for them. Either way, I am happy at any company taking a stand against really bad people. So again, this is just Ashley Siren's word, not mine, but if they've actually fired her, whoa. So I asked my subscribers what their opinion was of this, and y'all had some things to say. So like always, I'm gonna read them out, say my opinions on what you've said, and then say my opinions on my opinions. That was just a complicated way of saying I'll say how I feel. Tana is not someone who should have had the platform she has. She's a narcissist and an irresponsible child. She's done countless things that she should have been cancelled for, yet here she was with a TV show, and it's kind of like, these companies are also responsible for hiring these people without checking their past, and I'm sure that they do check their past and are very aware of it, but are just like, they'll make us money. So the company is also at fault. Tana is problematic, and I'm not sure why she's famous. Me neither, and I always do, oh, they're a YouTuber, but with Tana, I'm kind of like, you're so avidly not changing any of your problematic ways, in my opinion. So, what's that about? I just don't care for these toxic YouTube celebrities. They all got to go. Adam McEntee never disappoints. Love you. Thank you so much, Monty. They were talking about canning her long before now. She got a ton of heat by the way she behaved on there. Yeah, she was such a brat on that show and really did not show her in the right light. And it's always these YouTubers who get selected for reality TV shows then ruin the concept of YouTubers for the rest of us because mainstream media are picking up the Jake and Tana story and them getting together and oh my god, these reckless YouTubers and the actually good YouTubers get shunned. That's a conversation for the next day. I see why she's friends with Shane and Jeffree. She's just like them, and I've seen a lot of people say this, and you know what? I agree with them. Always using her traumatic past and mental illness to excuse rude and problematic behavior. Very important. Note that. I used to enjoy her over-the-top antics, but just like me, she's not 14 anymore and needs to grow the hell up, and you know what? Period. She is definitely toxic, and I'm glad MTV fired her, and we're not afraid to do so. Then again, what was Tana gonna do? Make a story time? A fabricated, lying story time? Something always seemed off about her in that show. Like she was just there to get that coin, if you know what I mean. Yeah, she was so dazed and didn't pay attention during the filming of that show, and it's very clear to see that. And just the entire show feels lazy. Who's gonna tell MTV about its own problematic past and present? And yup, MTV, we watching. We watching Tana, but we watching you. We can multitask. A train wreck so big the Polar Express had to start hiring a conductor for the summer. I cannot believe they didn't know how problematic she was before they hired her. I mean, hello? They had to know what they were getting into. I mean, hell, Google her name. Yeah, and this is why I hate when people are like, oh, I'm so happy these companies finally fired these problematic YouTubers. No, they hired them after knowing their past. You can't say they didn't know, because if you're hiring someone for a TV show, you vet their past. Them videos of Tana being really problematic are on the internet. Not hard to find. They hired her after that. And she didn't seem like a changed person to me, nor does she seem like a changed person now. I thought she made it seem like she wasn't interested in doing another season a while back. And everyone's responding, so would I if they were gonna cancel my show. I'd be like, yeah guys, I just don't think it's working out. It's a mutual decision. I'm gonna like step back. Finally, someone sees her for what she's been displaying. Changed for the trends, maybe. Important to note. Oh my god, I forgot to read people's names. I'm sorry, I was so caught up in the tea. I just read out opinions from The Real Roxy, Monty, Angie, Haley Con, Jessica, Evie, Claire, Casey, and Luna. So, there we go. Leah said, this show clearly highlights her delusional grip with reality, and her inability to show decent human connection. Yes. The fact that she was given a platform doesn't shock me, because MTV doesn't show anything but hot messes, and that's also important to note. They both suck, and I wish that people who are drawn to these type of folk could just stop enabling her. Yeah, agreed. Not a difficult ask, but people struggle to put it into practice. Anastasia said, I'm just surprised they gave her a show in the first place. And yeah, literally, she's one of the most boring YouTubers. I'm sorry. She built her career off of lying story times. How were y'all fans? Suzanne said, ha ha ha, back to her OnlyFans with that old toothbrush now. PTSD to that story time. Me with a toothbrush. Valera said, I'm glad. She needs to learn that there are consequences for the kind of behavior she had, but to be honest, I don't think she cares. If she cares, she would have changed a long time ago, and you know what? Thank you for bringing that up, because everyone says, ugh, cancel culture sucks. They're trying to cancel the people who are refusing to grow. In my opinion, have at it with cancel culture if it's them kind of people we're going after. Cynthia said, never watched one episode, so I'm good. Unfortunately, I've watched a lot of episodes and became very brain dead because of it. How You Like That said, some of the episodes I liked. In others, her and her friends acted really spoiled. And I hated the episodes with Jake, to be honest. Everything about this show was so bratty. That's the perfect word. Priscilla said, she's been problematic. She's embarrassing herself, honestly. And yeah, Tana, it's embarrassing. Carly said, good, bad behavior needs to stop being rewarded. And yeah, agreed. Cupid said, LMAO, I never even knew Sis was hired by MTV. Yeah, that's how under the radar the show was. I feel like only drama channels and her fans knew about it. But thank God she's not there anymore. Mari said, Tana is a straight up mess, and it baffles me how these type of people are the ones we recognize. There are much greater people out there living their lives and deserve so much more recognition, and yet we are consumers to Tana Mojo. I'm not innocent. As someone too, I get caught up with watching the dumpster fire she causes, but yeah, there's some hardworking people that we need to recognize, and I agree. Layla said, I've never been interested in Tana. Every time I hear about her, there's always a scandal or other problematic people involved. And her assistant, Jordan, her manager, just lets her get away with everything, and her friends don't always hold her accountable. It's not that they don't always hold her accountable, they never do. And so does Jordan, he never does either. Her manager. Jordan is just as bad as her though. They're a perfect team. Jamie said, she's exhausting and very immature. She should take some time away, and I feel like a lot of these YouTubers need a moment away from the internet. Maybe even me! My time to take my little break will come. Lily said, laughing at the people that just now found out about her past. You don't need to know about her past to think she's a bad person, because her present is pretty shitty too. MG said, 2020, the year we actually stopped making stupid people famous. Haley said, honestly, was expecting this. Wish other companies followed in the same way and didn't let these people get away with stuff. Well, we're seeing it with Morphe as well, with Jeffree and Shane. It's interesting the approach companies are now taking, even though they've had the information for years upon years, even before doing that initial contract. It's a PR move. Alexandra said, my honest opinion, thank God. Girl is always messy, problematic. Sharpest Tone Dashed said, took them long enough, but I'm glad. Sinning Nugget said, her show showed how problematic she still is to this day, and I 100% agree. It showed how really lazy, problematic, egotistical, selfish, just all around not good person that she was. Bratty. I'm gonna say that word again. She came across very bratty. Amelia said, LMAO, I didn't know the show was still running. It makes sense that she's been fired. TV is pretty different from YouTube, and she does have an extremely problematic past, especially with really bad stuff, as well as being narcissistic. Hello Kitty said, I thought she quit the show a few months ago because MTV was painting her in a bad light. Sure, Jan, yeah. Painting someone in a bad light is just showing their true colors, in my opinion. Amanda said there should be a Yelp review kind of thing on YouTube pages at this point. Anteric said, I used to be a fan of her when I was younger and I was way too naive to realize how problematic she was. I think it's the right thing for MTV to do. She's a known problematic person. She's been in way too many scandals, and not to mention the fact that she filmed a body that something had happened to, and it was swept under the rug. I talked about that in a previous video, and that really rubbed me up the wrong way. If we're holding everyone to the same standard, I think that situation should be treated like the Logan Paul one. I agree. But it'll never happen because her fans enable her toxic behavior. They're toxic too. I'm honestly ashamed to say I ever liked her. It honestly sucks that all my favorite childhood YouTubers and musicians are now being called out for such horrid things. At the end of the day, I do think that MTV made the right choice to drop her. Also, love your videos, keep up the amazing work. Thank you. And I agree with you. Fosta said, at this point, I was waiting for it. Martha said, she's so irritating, I never watched her show. It's Courtney said, it's about damn time. She didn't even deserve that platform in the first place. There are so many better people who deserve her platform. Not her. KB said she had a show on MTV. I've never watched any of her stuff, but I get the impression that her and her dude are trash. Kira said something that I kind of touched on and said they knew exactly who she was when they hired her. Now they want to jump ship? MTV hasn't been good since TRL anyway. Now if you think about it, they sign contracts, they go through someone's history. Even getting a normal job, like any day-to-day person, whenever you go for a job, they look up your social media. So putting someone on your platform, they obviously go through checks, so they knew everything about Tana. And they still hired her, so that's on them. They can't be like, oh, we're so good. No, you're guilty too. Once Upon a Time said they're using this as an excuse to fire her, which could also be true because her show wasn't doing that great. Plus the show was boring and was so forced to be edgy and cool. Let's be honest, MTV is not innocent, they're a toxic network. Everything they promote is toxic, which is why Tana Mongeau got a reality TV show. Bailey said, I so badly wish that all of these past actions would have been addressed sooner. Before Tana won her huge Creator of the Year award, before the conspiracy palette could have happened, none of these influencers deserve the spotlight, success, wealth, and support that they've all received within the last years. There's so much time, money, and energy that has gone into the support of these people. All of it for nothing. It's insulting to fans, supporters, minorities, and everyone in between who simply works their ass off to get ahead in life while maintaining integrity. Yet we will never see the success that these leeches have. But as much as I wish this firing came sooner, I'm damn proud of MTV for taking this step. Lyra said she is extremely problematic and very childish, in a bad way. This whole show was a massive flop. Snitches and Witches says all this tells me is that MTV did zero research before signing an enormous contract with her and decided to give her a huge TV show based on subscriber numbers. And now, if that's true, damn. Skylar Stone said, in all honesty, I'm glad she was fired. Her show in the first place was bad, which we all agree with. What happened with her friends and how she treated them throughout the show was awful. People deserve to be held accountable for what they've done in the past, and that's the tea. Love the channel, keep up the good work, thank you. Everyone's saying she didn't deserve the platform, this took them too long, she's problematic, she's annoying, she was never funny, she had a show, long overdue, why was she hired in the first place? She had a show? Isn't that why they wanted her in the first place? Natalie said, yeah, because she was problematic and they would bring in the ratings. Jazzy said, what do you mean problematic past? Hun is still shady and still problematic. Okay, there are so many more, but I kinda wanna say my own opinion. MTV had to have known about Tana's past before hiring her. Contracts, management, everything had to know about it, but yet she was still hired because she could bring in the numbers. And whenever the show showed her in a bad light, Tana started not wanting her own viewers watching the show and said that Netflix had painted her in that bad light. So the show overall kind of flopped view-wise, subject matter-wise, seemed forced. And also one thing that really always rubbed me up the wrong way about Tana doing this show was on her YouTube channel she'd be like, yeah, MTV are going to come over now and we're going to film for 4 hours. A reality TV show is supposed to film your entire life, like 24 hours, not be like, oh, I'm going to do my hair and makeup so that MTV can come over and film for the next 3 hours. No, they have to be there before, in the middle, and after. So from the start, this show was not good, and the setup of it was just awful. So everyone, what is your opinion of Tana allegedly being fired from MTV, and the statement from the apparent worker at MTV? What do you think? What was your opinion of the show? What is your opinion of Tana? Let me know. Let's have a conversation below. I'll see you in my next video, and bye.